What's up, everybody? This is Kyle at SFL240SX, and today we're interviewing Steve's POV, Mr. Thumbs Up himself. So, when I was in Japan for Tokyo Auto Salon, I had noticed Steve was at a booth. I had already been following Steve via YouTube, via Instagram, and when I saw he was going to be at a booth, I had to go and meet him in person. So myself and my wife walked over to where he was, and I kind of expected a quick handshake, nice to meet you, take a picture, goodbye. But it ended up being about a 15-minute conversation. We got to talking. Really, really nice guy, very down to earth. So we hit it off. We talked for a bit. I left him with a Lean Customs pin and some of the SFL240SX stickers, and we exchanged contact information, and we said, hey, let's keep in touch. You know, there might be something we could help each other out with in the near future. We talked about a couple of his potential secret builds, one of which has come to fruition, and one of which I am happy to be a small portion of.
A large portion of. First of all, thanks for having me here, Kyle. For one, I flew in from Texas this morning, so thank you for having me come here. It's awesome to see you again, and I'm a true believer in that things happen for a reason. So the fact that you came and searched me out at Tokyo Auto Salon, and the fact that that I had an opportunity at that point to talk for 15 minutes,
Yes,
because
I
as
was-
you saw, it gets pretty packed. I had a
Yes.
lot of Japanese fans.
Yes, there was people waiting in line to speak to him, and he would stop, greet them, hello, very politely, and he's very, very popular with the Japanese audience. And he was just super courteous to myself and my wife, like I said, talking to us for
I
15
keep looking
minutes.
over and I'm saying,
One second.
Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Because that's what it is. The whole day is like that. But you know what? We met that day, and here we are, not quite a year from that point.
Almost,
but we've
yeah.
stayed in touch. We're
Yes.
almost at a year. It's been a weird year since then. You know, thank God we made it to the Tokyo Auto Salon back then.
When we
because
did, yeah.
this year,
It
well,
would not
this
be the
next
same.
one,
Yeah.
it's happening, but it's not
Not at
really
the same
happening.
level.
So we may have to wait a whole nother year for all this stuff to pass. But you have become an integral part of the fact that I've got this new secret project coming to fruition is because of this guy right here that you helped make it. That's why I'm here in Miami, and that's what we're about to do after this interview is go check out what Kyle was. Well,
Assisting
the main,
with.
you were the major source of helping me get what we need, the heart of the new project.
There you go, that's a good
which
word,
we'll
the heart.
reveal a little bit. The heart.
Yes. So Steve, if you're not familiar with him, he does build videos. He has a huge stable of cars. He does motivational videos. He even has a Japanese alter ego. And he is also a realtor in the spare time he does not have.
Yes. Try to fit it all into 24 hours in a day.
Amazing. Massive props for doing what you got to do.
Thank you.
And a great family man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Originally born in New York.
In New York, in the Bronx.
So walk me through the history of Steve from New York.
Steve was born in 1970 in New York, in the Bronx, and family moved out of the Bronx into New Jersey, Paramus, New Jersey, where I grew up, went to high school. Graduated high school, Paramus, New Jersey in 1988, went to the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and then from there to Japan for about 6 years in the 90s, California for about 20-something years, and I just literally a month and a couple weeks ago moved to Texas, my new home north of Dallas, and we love it. We absolutely love it.
Beautiful home.
Love
Beautiful
it.
home.
Well, I got space now. I've got
Yes.
something I've never had in New York, never had in California. Now I've got a big property, and I'm building my dream shop that I grew up as a kid, always dreaming about having behind the house, that old barn
Yes.
field to put all the cars in there and have
All
a
the
place
banners,
to work
all the
on.
license plates.
All the license plates, all the signs, all the cars, lifts, just everything about cars that I love, that I grew up loving, that now I can finally, at 50 years old, I have behind my house, and it's kind of the dream garage, the man
Yes.
cave that I've been dreaming of.
You put in the effort. Now it's time to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's a studio. It's going to be a place that we're going to create more content from. It's a place that me and my son and I can do projects together. It'll be a place that, display the cars nicely, create new content in there. When you come to Texas, it'll be a place for you to come visit, for us to sit down, do another
Future
interview
video
like
right
this.
there. I'm gonna go visit.
You heard it. I made my promise to Kyle. He's coming to Texas next. And getting to drive whatever car of mine we're going to drive at that time.
We'll see what you let me drive.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
If the Ferrari, you'd probably rather drive the Hakosuka anyway, I bet. Hakosuka.
Hakosuka, not Hakusuka.
Not the Hakosukas, guys,
Yes.
the Hakosuka.
Yes.
No matter what it is, though, because you've been so nice to me, and I feel really we've met, we became friends. and it's such a small world. The two guys from America
Meeting in
Japan, being from different sides of the country, California and Florida, and here we are today, less than a year from that point together. So there's some weird karma. Call it weird, but there really is. There's reasons why people meet in life. And for people who are young, who watch this, I hope you remember that, because there really is reasons why you meet some people in your life.
It is. Good people find other good people.
Yes.
I have found that to be true.
Agreed.
100%.
Agreed.
So my next question is going to lead into you incorporating your son. Your son was raised around cars his whole life, and he has slowly altered your vibe of the kind of cars you like and the cars you build. So I believe you weren't so big into the Ferrari scene originally.
Or the JDM scene.
Or the JDM scene.
The Japanese car scene at all. In fact, I didn't have any interest in that whatsoever. I grew up, my dad was in the cars, so they kind of passed from my dad to me. My dad was the Hearst Performance rep in the late 60s in New York and New Jersey and Connecticut. That was used putting Hearst Performance shifters and Hearst Performance products into automotive parts stores throughout the tri-state area. So I grew up in old hot rods, 34 Fords, 32 Fords, Impalas, 57 Chevys, 58 Impalas, Ford Galaxies, Camaros, Mustangs, anything American, anything V8, big block, small block, that was my life. That's what I loved. When I moved to Japan, I continued to love that. But I started in Japan in my 20s to see all these cars that I never ever paid attention to, and in some cases cars that were never in the United States, like the Skyline, like some of these cars. I said, wow, Japan's got some really, really cool cars. And it started to grow on me. And being in Japan, I started buying and selling some cars in Japan, because I was always into buying and selling and trading and flipping and doing stuff like that. So I started buying cars there, and the Japanese cars started to grow on me. Then I moved back to the United States, and my son was born in 2000. And my son grew up around a lot of cars. At that time, though, all of my cars, again, were kind of what I grew up with. Hot rods, muscle cars, American V8, big block, small block type cars. Every day, I took him to school in a different car. So he grew up really having the car bug. But once he got to about 10, 11 years old, he discovered Top Gear.
Top Gear UK.
The UK.
The real Top Gear.
The Jeremy Clarkson. The Jeremy Clarkson.
Richard Hammond.
James May.
Grand Tour.
The Grand Tour. I got to tell you, it wasn't of any interest to me whatsoever. My son was hooked. He wouldn't stop watching it. And he turned to me one day and said, Dad, I love all of our cars. I think we were about to jump in a 59 Chevy wagon on a weekend and go out to a car show like we were always doing. And he said, Dad, can we sell these cars and get ourselves a Ferrari? That's some pull having with Dad.
Can we sell some cars and get a Ferrari?
And get a Ferrari. And I said, huh? And I wasn't into Ferraris. And I wasn't into it whatsoever. I said, why do you want that, man? That's nothing. He said, because Dad, they're really great cars and everything else. So we started looking more Ferraris, and I said to him, because I love my kid and we love spending time together, I said, we'll sell some cars off and we'll raise money and we'll get that Ferrari. And we bought a 360 Spider, a Modena 360 Spider. And
that was the first Ferrari I've ever got to drive, by the way.
You did?
Yes.
F1?
No.
Was it a manual?
No, it was a manual.
It was a manual.
My first one I ever got to drive was actually a manual. A buddy of mine owned a detailing business, and one of his clients would actually trust him with said car. And being that I knew how to drive stick rather well, he said, "Hey,
drive it."
So
good car, by the way. That's a great car.
Fantastic car.
Very collector, very desirable, and a manual transmission. That's a car to buy, by the way. If you find a manual transmission, 360 Spider,
360 gated,
or a 430 gated, a 430 even better. Those are the cars to get. Definitely going up in value.
Yeah.
But we bought that car. I loved that car. It was fantastic, and that car changed a lot for me. Changed a lot for my son, and it was the way we started Steve's POV channel together, because he was maybe at that time 12, 13 years old. He was into the cars. He was into the supercars. I was learning about supercars, but he was into photography as well. And just like this nice DSLR camera you got that you're shooting this interview with right now, I bought him one not quite as nice, but he learned how to use the camera. And episode 1 of Steve's POV started at Supercar Sunday in Calabasas, or in Woodland Hills, California, when we went out to the show and we talked about in Japanese what car life in America is about, what Americans do on Saturdays and Sunday mornings. California, particularly Sunday mornings, we would every weekend go out. And 20 years old, my son now, even today, he wakes up Sunday morning and says, Dad, where are we going today? Or, what's our plan tomorrow? He said he doesn't mind being with his dad.
That's super cool.
We have a great relationship together. And from supercars, then he started getting more into Japanese cars. And as my travels back and forth to Japan and taking him with me, he started seeing the same cars that I started seeing. He said, Dad, that's a cool car. Whoa, I like what Japan does with these cars. In fact, he started liking what Japan was doing with supercars. Liberty Walk, Morohoshi, some of the characters that show up on my channel, some of the guys, he started being influenced by him. The first Japanese car I bought, though, was after I went to Japan and I met Mr. Amemiya, R-E-E Amemiya, which, by the way, do you know what the R-E stands for?
Rotary engineering?
Yeah, rotary engine. Yeah. Rotary engine Amemiya, which here people, it sounds like Mamma Mia.
Yes,
call us.
yes.
We'll call him Mr. Mamma Mia.
The Americans, we do our best at pronouncing the words. The Hakosuka.
Hakosuka.
Not Hakosuka.
No.
Yes.
But Mr. Amemiya is a super nice guy, 70-something years old, and I sat with him for an interview, and I have all these interviews on my channel, Smokey Nagata and him too, and he's telling me about the beauty of the rotary engine and about how RX-7, the FD, is the most balanced, perfect car in existence. And you know what he said to me? He said, Steve, take your Ferrari, take a Diablo, take an F40, take whatever supercar you want, okay? We'll take the Japanese, the highway in Japan, 2 lanes and a shoulder lane. He says, and me and you're going to race. He says, and I'm going to be with one finger on the steering wheel, and I'm going to be zooming in and out of traffic just like this. He says, I'll see you at the finish line way ahead of when you're going to get there. He says, pick any supercar you want. So I listened to him. I said, are you serious? He says, 100%. It was in my head, man. And I got on the airplane coming back to America, and I said, you know what? I want to buy an RX-7. If that car is as good as he says, I want to buy an FD. On the airplane, I started looking, started researching stuff, got off the plane, found in Pasadena or Glendale, somewhere in that area, a really nice 94 RX-7 FD, and I bought it. And then I started ripping that car apart, and I started learning why that car was so special. And then my son started really appreciating Japanese cars. And slowly, our stable of not only supercars, but Japanese cars.
And the rotary engine.
And the rotary engine.
Yes.
And which has now gone, well, I think we're going to talk about that coming up, but into a father-son rotary project on an FC that we've just recently completed. Now,
we both share the love of the RX-7s.
Yes.
And when I first, unfortunately, totaled my Zenki S14 in 1999, I was either going to be replacing it with the Koki S14 that I currently have, but my other option and what was one of my dream cars was also the FDRX7. So when I was flying to Japan for Tokyo Auto Salon, the first thing I did was research where can I rent a sports car. So I had done some research on YouTube, and I found a place, Omishura, and I rented a FD3S for the weekend of Auto Salon.
That's right, you told me that.
Yes.
I remember that now.
So I rented a white FD3S, and I got to drive on the Wengan and the highways, and driving right-hand drive, learning about completely driving on different streets, on different highways. Everybody drives on different sides. I found out how expensive the tolls are.
Yes.
It is very expensive to drive on the highways.
Yes.
But I got to enjoy the FDRX7 in its homeland.
And what a great experience that is.
It truly was.
What a fantastic experience to have gotten.
It was worth it.
And by the way, too, if you haven't ever experienced an RX-7, a rotary engine, an FD particularly, I encourage anybody, say what you say about it, it's a nothing. Drive one once and experience it. And you'll kind of understand what Mr. Amemiya was telling me about that car. It is the most balanced. It is easy to drive. It is just all around an awesome, awesome car. Not to mention that sound of that rotary is just fantastic.
I love the 13B for the simple reason that it's the underdog in the car world. Yeah. Everyone wants the easy piston engine.
Yeah.
And the reason, if you're familiar with my car, the S14 with the KA is the underdog motor. Everybody just throws them out, takes them to the junkyard.
Yep.
I feel like the 13B gets that same hate. I don't want to deal with it. They burn oil. Well, they burn oil because that's how they get lubricated. It's not, they don't burn oil because they're a bad motor.
People don't understand it. It's so simple.
They don't want to learn
that people don't even understand it. And that's the problem. It's almost that the simplistic nature of it. In fact, there's only 3 moving parts inside of a 13B
it's
rotary
just different,
engine.
And people don't like different.
People don't like different. And I didn't like different until you experience that difference and you hear one of those rotaries come into a car show.
Once you hear the sound.
You hear that coming, and everybody stops and looks at that thing, and you just see that car bellowing smoke out, burning oil out of the back, and just making
shooting
noises.
Fireballs and two-stepping.
Big fireballs coming out. it grows on you real fast.
Yes.
Really fast.
A buddy of mine, Gold Digger, he has a yellow RX-7 in Orlando, and he is the king of two-steps and fireballs.
That is great.
Any car show we go to, we already know who's winning. We already know who's going to shoot the fire out the back, 3-foot flames.
Nice.
So
love it.
Yes,
Love it.
Yes, FD. Okay, so moving on to the next thing, let's talk about the stable, your current stable of cars, because you're always flipping them. Right now, I would say you're more known for your 458.
In some circles, it's funny. Here in the United States, I'd say, in America, people know me for the 458. That car is real popular. In Japan, I think I'm more known for the Skyline, for the RX-7, for the AE86, for some of those cars. It's funny, my channel's got
two different audiences.
Two different audiences. On YouTube, I have a very heavy Japanese predominant audience.
Yes.
But on Instagram, it flips the other way. I have an American audience and less Japanese.
So finding the balance of the two.
Finding the balance of the two, finding what people like. I notice on YouTube, if I put a video out about, like yesterday's video, in fact, it just so happens to be, was about me taking an RX-7. Well, it was more about the Ferrari going to a supercar show in Texas. Well, that day we took the RX-7 at the supercar show too. So yesterday, when you're thinking about how to present the video, sometimes you think about a title and a picture and everything. It would have been easy to say, I took my Ferrari to the show and I won an award. But on my channel, because I know the way the Japanese think and what they like on the channel, is actually turn it around and say, we took the RX-7 to a supercar event
and won an award. Yes.
Slight changes, but that video overnight's almost 100,000 views.
Good video.
Whereas if I probably have the Ferrari, maybe I'd be 40,000 views. It's just the difference in the audience. There's love and hate on the Ferraris. There's love and hate to the mods that I've done to the Ferrari.
Definitely different.
Definitely different.
It's got your wrap on it. It's got the rear bumper, delete.
LED lights all over it. Crazy wheels, wide body, Japanese flag.
Definitely the Japanese inspired.
Yeah. And Japanese inspired by multiple sources.
Yes.
So here's what the uniqueness of my Ferrari is. In Japan, you have a lot of different factions of guys. Liberty Walk is Liberty Walk. Morohoshi is the guy with all the flashy cars.
Yes. Which
They're
I got
not
to see
necessarily,
in person.
as you know, they don't really get along, these guys. They're different styles, they're different things. Liberty Walk's a business building cars. Morihoshi's more of a show-off kind of, the what with his lights and everything else. Both the nicest guys, by the way, in the world, but completely different camps.
Lights and crystals.
I am kind of the guy in the middle who brings these guys together. And through Steve's POV, you've now got a Liberty Walk Ferrari 458 with the Morohoshi touches of the wheels, the underglow, and all the other craziness on it. No bumper, all this other stuff. And then a Steve kind of mix. So that's what I do. I think I feel like I bridge a kind of a cultural divide, gap.
You bring people together.
I bring Japan to America. I bring a little bit of America to Japan, and then I bring this unique flavor, that kind of stuff that I'm into, And that's the fun of cars, man. Is that you can have 10 458s lined up. They can all look stock and the same. They can all be red and tan, or then you could throw a crazy guy like me into the mix who pulls in, and all the other Ferrari guys scatter. All the purists scatter as I come in, and that's okay because you know what? Purists are cool. I respect what it is, but I'll drive my car and I'll park right next to the guy with the beat up, no offense, Sylvia or whatever car is sitting there. I like guys who are working on their own stuff, customizing it. Yeah. I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter if it's a Ferrari. Doesn't matter if it's a Honda CRX, an RX-7, an FB. I don't care. I like seeing what the work that people are doing and how they're making it their own.
I was lucky enough last year. There's an event here called Exotics on Las Olas. And the guy who throws that also does the Supercar Saturdays, Floyd. So Floyd likes my car, and he allowed me to participate in the Exotics on Las Olas.
Nice.
So I am literally surrounded by Sennas.
Yes.
There was a Vector.
Yes.
I'm literally surrounded by cars that are worth so much more than mine. But he was generous enough to allow me to take my car there. And I popped the hood. I set it up like I would for any other show.
Yeah.
I have a McLaren on one side and a Lamborghini on the other side.
Yep.
And I expected people to walk on, kind of make a look of what's that doing here and keep going.
Yep.
And I was shocked. I had people stopping left and right, coming up to me. I love this. You have your hood popped. Nobody else has their hoods popped. This is what I like to see. And it was super cool. I mean, I felt honored to be there. And even though I was the oddball, people appreciated the build. It didn't matter that it was, not a $150,000, $200,000 car. At one point, even we had a Tyson Beckford walk by, and I saw him. I was like, "Is it Tyson Beckford in my engine bay?" So we got to meet another celebrity, and he really appreciated the car too.
And the funny thing about what you're saying is this, you see, because your car was different, it stood out, people appreciated that difference, and that's the beauty of the car community. I will tell you the next thing that you're going to have an influence on, and I'm going to tell you why I know this. Because a few weeks ago, if you go back to a video on my channel where I took 3 classics, Japanese JDM classics, to a supercar car show, and the people in Dallas have been so nice and welcoming to me. They opened up a spot right in the center, smack dab in the center, held it for me for my 3 cars. I pull in there with the RX-7, the Skyline, and my 240Z, parked right next to a brand new TDF, a Ferrari, an F12 TDF. And I pull in, and we pop the hoods, as we do, right?
Yeah.
We pop the hoods on our cars, we show off our goods. About 20 minutes later, the guy with the TDF comes. Do you know what he did? Guess.
Popped his hood.
Oh yeah, he popped his
That's,
hood. A guy with the TDF popped his hood. We loved it. It was fantastic. I had to go over and shake his hand and say, thank you for doing it.
Exactly. To me,
thank
a car,
you for doing
a car event, a car build, the heart of the motor.
Yeah.
Pop the hood.
Pop the hood, man. If Ferrari, doesn't matter. Pop the hood. Show off what you got. Be proud of it.
My interview series is actually named Pop the Hood. Yes.
Well, there you go.
You weren't even aware of that, but yes.
I wasn't. But
I named the series Pop the Hood because that's what I'm all about.
Great.
I as people will see as I release the videos, I've already filmed the full season. I'm currently filming season 2. It's all about meeting people. Being that I've been in the car culture in Miami, especially with the S chassis and the Skylines for so long, I've gotten the chance to meet hundreds of people over the years. Mm-hmm. Some come, some go, some sell their cars, some regret it, come back. But I've had these relationships. Yeah. And they might disappear 10 years later, come back, Kyle, I got another one. Cool, welcome back, let's go. So I have these relationships, and I wanted to do my YouTube thing. Yep. So I have this idea, let me do an interview series to where I get people to get to see these cars. And being that I only had that access from, some of these guys don't ever bring their cars out. Yeah. They only have it, they'll come to one of my meets, they'll put it away, and that's it. Yep. So this is their chance to, get some shine. I show off their engine bay, I show off their interior, I show off the aero, and you get to meet the owner. Yeah. A lot of these things you get to see the car, but you don't get to learn too much about them. So I try to integrate everything together. And that's what that series is about. And that's what the car community is about. Exactly. It's, cars are just a means. Honestly, they're great, but they're a means for nice people to network, to get together, to make new friends, to make new business connections, to make new relationships, to share ideas, right? To gain information, to gain knowledge from people. But it's all about the people at the end of the day. So the fact that your Pop the Hood series goes into the owner and their thoughts and everything else, I think that's the real interesting part of it, because there's not a custom car without somebody customizing it. Yeah, and what's the story? How did this car come to be? What was the thoughts? What came behind it? And that's the interesting part about it to me. And I hope when I go visit you in Texas that we can do a couple of videos on your cars, and we can go from start to finish. And you'll get to be part of season 2 for a couple or weeks. Season 3. Yeah, I know. Season 6 by then. I know. We do all my cars. I know. Oh man, and the staples constantly changing. I hope you still have some of them when I go visit. I don't flip cars like I used to. I used to be a flipper. I used to buy and flip. I used to buy, and I'll still do it sometimes if we know we got to make a quick dollar to fund another project. But for the most part, everything I've bought in the last several years have stayed. So that's why I'm building a big shop behind my house right now. Perfect. So I finally have a place to store them all. Which leads me into, so we talked about the 458. Yes. Let's go into some of the other ones. Let's talk about the Hakosuka. Yes. Okay, so you have a 71. I have a 71. 71 Hakosuka. KGC 10. And you have a wrap on it. I do have a wrap on it. And you also have a theme that goes with all of your cars. Yes. A theme that, actually, almost all the cars have that same theme. I was looking for some way to tie my cars together, something unique, something different. And I came up with these stripes, these dual stripes. And if you look at them on the back of the my Skyline is wrapped like a Zero Fighter. Mm-hmm. Zero Fighter that I love the wrap. Got really beat up and rusted and beat up. And that airplane tie-in, I'm loving it. It was unique. It was different. It was something I was thinking about. I came up with the idea. In fact, the Florida-based designer, one of the best, Scott Skeppel they call him. He designed the wrap with me together, and then we wrapped it at my friend Christian's place, Alpha Restyling in California. I actually helped in doing that, and I love it. But part of the theme on that car is this dual stripe theme. Mm-hmm. You'll see it on the side. If you look at my Raptor, it's got the dual stripes. Mm-hmm. If you look at the 458, it's got the dual stripes. The dual stripes are going to wind up on pretty much all the cars as they get wrapped and designed. And I like that theme, and you'll notice it. It's not on this shirt, but a lot of my merchandise and other stuff, I use that stripe. You integrate it however you can. Integrate it however
it best looks on each car.
Yeah, without forcing it.
Without trying not to force it. You know, like the RX-7 doesn't have it. That's my son's car. It didn't fit that car very well.
Well, his is more of the initial D.
The initial D.
Right. He's got the red suns on it.
Exactly. Can't put a big stripe on that one.
Yeah, it wouldn't fit what everybody understands he's trying to do, or you guys did together.
Exactly. That was a father-son project.
Which I saw from the beginning.
That was a pile of crap that we bought.
Oh my God.
The Japanese thought that I was out of my mind and crazy that we pulled a pile of crap out of a garbage pile.
$700 he spent to buy this car, and I believe grand total $13,700.
Somewhere right around. Good memory.
Somewhere
right
around
about
that.
there.
Yeah.
So plus or minus a little bit.
Basically, an FC initial D inspired build for under 15 grand. A lot of the work done, father and son style. A lot of hard work went into this, and in a short period of time.
In a real short period of time, I'd say 4 months, 5 months, we pretty much did it all together in our driveway.
That's a very tiny short period of time.
You know, great relationships helped get it done. You know, with Ryan, R&R Rotary, you know, he helped us build the motor. We met people along the way, Ernie and all these guys, and Conseil Wheels, Chris, and all the people who I've known and then met as a result of that project, who are now friends, who are now resources, who are now there when I have questions and other stuff about the car. In fact, I think I probably called you back then asking, wait, what do you know about Rotary? Because we spoke to Rotary so much. Yeah. I said, hey, I got to call Kyle.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
We talked about Rotaries, and we talked about your newest project.
The newest project.
Quite extensively.
Yes.
So he bounced off the Rotary question. I told him what little I knew about Rotaries. But we both learned together, I believe, because that was going to be one of your first builds from start to finish.
That was it.
And he lucked out, and he found a really good builder out there in California.
Yep.
And I watched his progress, where him and his son Alex, the kid, put this car together. I mean, I remember them taking out little panels of the interior, little bits, and painting them and restoring them. The stuff that people don't realize goes beyond the scenes. Everybody thinks these cars just come out perfect. You don't see all the blood, sweat, and tears and broken door handles that happen in the background.
Still happen.
Yes.
And by the way, $700 sounds cheap. By that afternoon, after buying the car, we had already spent probably close to 10 times that amount of money.
Yeah, parts alone.
Just parts. Especially for the type of car it is. You know, an FD, Rotary stuff in general is not like Rotary a Toyota.
No. Well, it's their flagship model. That's what I tell people.
Right.
When you have a Supra is the flagship of the Toyotas. The Skyline, the flagship of the Nissans. Well, with the RX-7, it was the flagship of Mazda.
Yep.
So you're going to have that little flagship pricing.
Yep.
You know, that extends to aero, that extends to motor, that extends to anything. Anything and everything.
A lot of trim parts.
$100 minimum.
Anything.
$100
anything.
minimum.
Piece of plastic. And then there's not like there's parts available. You have to go find used parts.
Yep.
So it was a great experience for my son because, one, he had to shop parts. He had to negotiate with people. He had to go buy stuff. He had to know who we were dealing with. There's so many lessons involved when you think about not just the building part, but the learning about what's involved with the build, the building the relationships, finding the people, going out negotiating, paying somebody, completing transaction, and then selling off and recouping money from stuff that you're not reusing on the car.
Correct.
So
all
there's
tied
a
into
whole
sales.
He graduated business school 6 years early.
That's
is
right.
what I say to my son. You know what I mean? You don't. In fact, listen, kid. You don't need to go to business school no more. Right? You graduated.
You got that.
You got an A. You're advanced. Go get a job. All right. I'm gonna stop paying for college soon. Joke. Anyway,
I'll still go to school.
he likes school and he wants to be a doctor. So, but in the meantime, working with his hands
and working with dad
and enjoying it and turning this COVID situation into something that became really a new face of my channel. I've done a lot of videos up to then, but we had never really done a father-son build. And then really that father-son theme picked up on my channel, and I get comments from people here and in Japan, all around the world, that people say, well, we're jealous of that nice relationship you have with your son. It's really fantastic that you and your son go out, and Sunday mornings, driving with him is fun. Going out and going to shows together is fun. Pulling into places is fun,
And he opened up your mind to the different types of builds.
He did. He did. And I think I brushed off on him too. And now he's into trucks. He's into America. He wants, now that we're in Texas.
Oh, in Texas, I was going to say the Raptor and whatnot.
We already yesterday we put on a Raptor, an exhaust tip that's about that big. You can put your whole head in there now.
That's correct.
But he wants to get like the dually, and he wants to put big smokestacks. He wants to blow, roll coal all over.
We call them brodozers.
Brodozers. Yeah. We're going to brodoze in Texas probably pretty soon. The kid's into that. So.
All right.
And I'm with him on that. In California, no bro doesn't.
No.
No, bro doesn't wind you up in
no Prius repellents.
No, in the referee, in the state referee's office.
All right, so let's go on. So we talked about your 458, the Hako, the Datsun 240Z, also a 71.
71 also, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you incorporated all your themes, but this is a little more subtle build.
So there's parts of this project that haven't been completed yet. I got caught up in my move leaving California to now. The project's been on hold a little bit, and it's about to start again. That car actually already has, I have it. I introduced it on the channel, but I brought a real JDM style wide, really Boso Zoku style wide body kit for that car. So that car is about to get cut, about to get wide fenders put on, about to have 14-inch wheels that are about 12 inches wide.
RWB style almost.
The Bonsai Racing, BRE, those same ones that are on my Sunny truck, that little pickup truck that I got, are going onto that car. So that car is about to continue to be a build. It'll most likely get the striping theme on it now, but right now it's just an orange and black. Really nice 71.
It's clean.
240Z.
It's clean.
Yes.
All right, so after the 240Z, we have the FC that you guys built together.
Father-son FC.
And you also have a 86.
We have an A86. That's now
Hachiroku.
a new build. Hachiroku, yes.
All right.
That's the.
How's that coming?
Pretty good. We got the whole interior stripped out of it. Yesterday, I met with the engine builder, a guy locally. Moving to Texas, one of the things was finding a new network of people.
Yes, you're starting from scratch locally.
Locally.
You have your contacts in California.
I had all the California contacts.
And some in Japan.
And lots in Japan,
too. But you switched to an entire new segment.
Now I've left all those guys, and now I've got to find a local thing. And the beauty is that there are so many cool car people everywhere.
Anywhere you go.
So many shops all around there. The people I've got now connected with, the people I have a nice network of people already built up.
I think you know somebody in Miami.
I do know some people in Miami. I know I got people everywhere. Miami, this is a great place, but there's car people are everywhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, are really in many ways very like-minded. So I have that new network, and the A86 is the new project, and we're going to do something you talked about before, the K engines. Okay, in the 86, that 4AGE 16-valve engine is an engine that a lot of people tend to swap out or not use, or maybe they don't think about building it. We're going to build that engine, and we're going to do it kind of an old-school way. In fact, I met a guy who's Puerto Rican who lives real close to me, and in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, those 4AG engines are the bomb.
Well,
they're the
Puerto Rico is known for the rotaries too.
For the rotary. Oh, he told me too. He says rotary. Forget about it. Rotary too.
Yeah.
But he says this 4AG and the rotary engine is everything.
Yeah.
So this guy actually went in tears. His name's Ivan. Nice guy. He came over my house. He actually started crying. He's 30-something years old, and he says when he was 15 years old, the first car he ever built in Puerto Rico was a Corolla with the 4AG engine. So for him, this was a flashback to something, and he's actually emotional about building it and really excited. So that's the relationship. That car is coming forward right now too, as a new project.
Now, truck-wise, you have a Sunny truck.
I have a Sunny, a right-hand drive Sunny.
Which, from one of your videos, I learned you got to talk the owner into selling to you for a little bit.
I had to convince him. He didn't want to sell it. It was an auto salon, Tokyo Auto Salon show truck, and a super nice one, in fact. And but I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. Thought it was cool. He was never going to sell it. About a year after that Tokyo Auto Salon, he hit me up and said, well, were you still interested in that truck?
Said, yes.
Yeah. And I went and grabbed it, and I brought it here. And it's actually getting some work done. The engine had a little bit of problem. We had some cracked manifold, and we had it was smoking and overheated. We had a bunch of issues. It's
typical
with
car build.
Another classic car.
Yeah.
Classic car troubles.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah.
But it's being fixed up, and I got a little suspension work to do to it. And that truck should start seeing driving around Texas here pretty soon.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And the Raptor.
And the Raptor.
The Raptor. It seems such a Texas-friendly build too.
I fit in Texas really well.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas. My Raptor fit right in Texas. As soon as I got those California plates off of it, I fit in even better. Now it's registered in Texas, but that's a good Texas. And that truck is great because I bought that truck. It's a Gen 1. It's got 210,000 miles on it. If you looked at it, you'd say, no way.
It looks brand new.
It looks like a brand new truck, and it's a really well kept truck, and I love it. My wife won't let me sell it. I was talking about selling it; she won't let me sell it.
Oh, no, I would tell you not to sell it either.
I got Land Cruisers too.
Yes,
Do you know about those?
Yes.
I guess you got two of them.
Oh my God.
Two, an FJ60 and a 62. 62, I said, my wife, how about you drive this? I had this great idea, right? Hey, I found your new car. She says, oh, it's cute, but she was
an Audi.
She has the all-road that I bought that I was going to do a bunch of stuff to and never really did. But I was trying to convince her to go into the FJ, and I think we're going to sell one of the FJs. So my son's going to drive the red one, the manual trans one.
Nice.
Which we're going to do a lot of stuff too. We're going to
Nice.
lift it. It's going to
Another father-son project.
Another father-son project.
Which leads me into another thing that makes Steve very different from most YouTubers is that him and his son both speak fluent Japanese.
Yes.
And most of their videos will be in Japanese with English subtitles.
Yes.
So that is something very different. It takes some skill to get used to because I guess as you know, watching American YouTubers do videos, you get spoiled to just be able to look firsthand. So I'm here watching your videos and trying to keep up with the subtitles, and it's very different, but it's unique. And I would say a lot of your followers are Japanese.
Yes. Or people who are open-minded enough to say, you know what, this is different, it's unique, there's nobody else doing anything like it.
Really, nothing.
Hey, we know how to read, okay, we'll just read along. I spend hours and hours for every video just to get the English subtitles on there. So people who watch it and appreciate it, thank you. People who watch it and just can't get into it because I'm speaking Chinese or whatever they think I'm speaking, I get it too. And total respect for if you don't want to read along or do it, I get it. Some of my videos are in English with Japanese subtitles on the opposite, but we made a conscious effort. A lot of people said to me, well, you should do it in English. You'd have a lot more subs. Yeah, perhaps I would. But who else is a white dude on there doing videos in Japanese from America with his son
It's
of
a
this
niche.
type of cars?
It's your niche.
That's my niche. That's what I'm going to follow. That's what I like. And that's it. And for anybody who's looking for a YouTube channel, find your own niche. Be unique. Don't copy anybody else.
And I will say his Japanese subscribers are very, very friendly, nice people. When we were chatting, one would come up and politely wait, and they love Steve. Steve's gotten the chance to work with a lot of people in Japan. Mr. Morohoshi with the Lamborghinis. He's gone on rides with them.
Yes.
He's met with the Midnight Club.
Yep.
Which I've been in touch with. I have some buddies.
Yep.
And my next visit to Japan, I will get to go see some of the Midnight Club guys.
The Midnight Club guys are great. If you saw the video that I put out there, that is the current true status of the Midnight Club. Those are the original members. Those are some of the original guys with some cars from back in that time, some newer cars. All those guys got money now, so they've upgraded their stuff. But they're all successful business guys. Many of them don't want to even show their face. Mm-hmm. In fact, the leader, the guy who spoke to me, Mr. Tamura, I believe is his name, he has never shown his face on a video before. Never. And I said to him that night, I said, we're going to do this interview. I said, I prefer not to put a mask on your face. I think it would look weird. I said, you're a 50-year-old guy now like I am. You ready to come out of the closet, so to say? I mean, dude, he says, yeah. And try to find another video where his face is straight out. I mean, he's a business guy.
They were very low-key.
Very low-key.
Yeah.
So this was a really interesting interview. If you haven't seen it, I recommend people watch it and get an idea and answer any rumors about the status of the Midnight Club. You can find out from that video exactly what they're up to right now and what their future plans are.
Fantastic interview.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it very much so. And looking very much forward to my chance to see all those cars in person and all the history and just
so much.
That is, I mean, they made video games over it. I mean, it's such a part of the Japanese history and culture.
Wasn't a movie too, right? Wasn't Wangan
Wangan Midnight was also
the animation
series,
right.
And it was a video game.
Right.
I actually have a picture of myself playing the Wangan Midnight arcade game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, it's ingrained in the culture like Initial D would be.
Yep.
But for highway racing on the Wangan. When I was driving the FD on the Wangan, I remember seeing the sign. I told my wife, "Get out the camera. Get the Wangan sign. Get the Wangan sign."
That's so funny.
So
can I tell you something that I'm going to admit to? Maybe again, you're going to say, "No way." I've never watched Initial D, and I've never watched Wangan Midnight.
I will tell you this much.
And when I started to one time, because my kid said I got to watch it, I fell asleep in 5 minutes.
Oh, I will say this: they did a dubbed American version of the Initial D. It's not the same.
It's not.
No, they do it dubbed. The translations are not the same. The music is not the same. If you want the Initial D experience and all the hardcore, I'm not a hardcore Initial D guy, but I did watch all the series. Watch it in Japanese to get the true experience.
Okay. I could do that because I don't even need subtitles, but I'll tell you what.
Well, exactly, yeah.
I just got to get myself to watch it. I keep joking with my son. I say, I'm going to watch it. He says, no, you're not.
Well, now that you have the FC,
no, you're not.
There's a tie-in.
I don't, because he keeps talking about, now we're talking about tofu and we're talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, what? Who?
You can't
where?
spill the tofu in your drift.
Well, now that's what he's talking. And he's a glass of water on the dash and drifting. So I got to get all these cliches. And all these
Bunta, the father,
yes,
tells him, "You're not good. You're not as good as me until you can drift all this here without spilling the water."
And I guess I'm Bunta, right? In this
in
the
this
modern day scenario,
yes.
My son called me Bunta the other day, so I imagine that's me, Dad.
Yes.
I figured that much out.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go into. So you differ because you speak Japanese in your videos. You also have a alter ego, Sato. So explain a little bit of how Sato came to be and how many Sato videos you've done so far.
So one of the first video you touched on Morohoshi before. I don't know if he was first or second, but my first couple of viral videos that went viral over 1 million views really fast were one was with Morohoshi and the LED Lambo crew, the Midnight Lambo crew as I call them, and the other one was about Japanese salaryman versus American salesman. And these are these comparative videos that I do because my time in Japan and working there and doing all that, I would always pick up on the differences between Japanese and American style of working and interacting and doing certain things within an office.
Huge culture differences.
Huge culture differences. So I decided I'm going to just try to show these differences in kind of a funny,
a little
short
parody
kind of way. Me
humorous.
sitting at a desk, this 2-minute clip as an American, and basically at the same desk with a few little changes as a Japanese guy. And Sato is the Japanese guy.
He plays both characters,
yes.
which makes it that much better.
And it's fun because you watch the differences and you could see how different things are. People think, some people watched him, not many, but some people thought I was being mean to Americans or putting down American style of working, and not. I'm going to feet up on the desk, leaving at 3:45. And when I came back from Japan, that's what it seemed like, at least in California. People were like, we're going home, it's 3 o'clock, we're done for the day. In Japan, you're working till 9, 10 o'clock at night before you go out and eat and drink and start it over the next day.
And it's okay to sleep on the job because it means you're working harder.
You're working harder.
Right. That's a cultural thing. You wouldn't sleep in an American job, you'd be fired.
No, exactly. But the Japanese are very jealous of the fact that we as Americans are very productive despite our kind of laid-back nature. The Japanese guys putting, necktie on, sweating, handkerchiefs, and wiping sweat off his brow, typing all night, serious at the computer. And the American guy's like, I'm out of here.
Well, it all ties together because we build cars differently.
Yep.
But we both appreciate each other's builds the same.
That's right. It's the difference. It's the appreciation of these things that we're not used to, that are different to us. And that's what Sato became, the Steve of Japan. The very serious, very straightforward. And Sato works in the office. Sato gets fired. Sato goes to get another job. Sato shares hamburgers, has his first hamburger and donuts with so Sato is surprised by the amount of sweetness of the donuts and things that, if you experience Japan or you've been there before, you'll see that Sato character and you'll say, I got it. Yeah. I got what he's getting at. And those videos did very well for me. I've stopped kind of doing them as much lately, focusing more on the car stuff, but I really like that. That's whenever I travel back to Japan and then come back to the U.S., I'm very sensitized to those differences. And I see them, and I think about them, and I try to think of a kind of a funny, short, sweet, funny way to present them.
And I was actually honored in one of his videos. When I had given him the Lean Customs pin and a couple of my stickers, when he was filming one of his Sato videos, he actually had my stickers on the desk when he was filming. When I was Steve. It was on the American desk. It wouldn't be on the Japanese desk. But it was on the American desk. And I caught that. Front and center. You did. You wrote me right away. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate thank you for those beautiful gifts. All right, so the next question we're going to get into, you've been through a lot of cars. What's your favorite car? That's always a really hard question to answer, because I'm a kind of guy, I can jump out of, let's say, the Ferrari and jump into a AMC Pacer and have as much fun, driving that as I did the Ferrari or the Skyline or something different like builds. That. It's just different. Different smells, different sounds, different feelings, different everything about it, different shifting, different everything. So I don't know, I mean, a lot of people ask me that. My favorite car, I would say of all my cars, I really love the Skyline, the Hakosuka, probably the best. But, I think back to when I was a kid, and one of my first cars I had was a 61 Chevy Bel Air, 2-door sedan, very rare car. My dad had a similar car when he was young. I love that car. I love it. I love it today. But I don't know that it's really hard for me to say what my favorite car is. Really, you don't have to have a favorite. There was some people have clear-cut favorites? I like them all.
I like them all. I
Okay.
like 'em all.
So now the flip side of the coin, the least favorite car or biggest headache build. How about that?
Least favorite car, biggest headache build. Yeah, I bought it's an American car again, sorry. But I bought a 55. Me and my son were going to do more of these build things together. And I said, why don't we do an American car? The Japanese will really like it. We went out to up in the high desert in California and bought off of a peach farm a 56 Chevy, two-door hardtop. So, two-door hardtop, 56 Chevy is a good car. It was a rolling shell. Didn't have anything. I shouldn't have bought it. I made a mistake.
You got
We brought it
excited.
back. Got excited. My kid was with me. We put it on the trailer, bring it back with these dreams of doing it, and got back home and said, oh man, this was a mistake. It didn't take long to realize it was a mistake. As much as I love the car,
Bit off more than you could chew.
bit off way more than we could chew, way more than we could dedicate time to what we're doing, and just wound up selling that project kind of after a little bit of cleanup. Wound up selling it, kind of just getting my money out of it and getting rid of it. But as you get older, you start to realize when you do stupid stuff, and maybe you dug the hole. Let's fill it back up fast before it gets any deeper.
Cut your losses.
Cut the losses and move on. That was
That's
one
it.
of those cars to cut the losses and move on.
Yeah, life is about taking chances, taking risks, learning from them, and
Yep.
moving on. Nobody's perfect. You're gonna do these things where you bite off more than you can chew.
You learn from those experiences. So I didn't buy another 56 Chevy Roller with no windows, doors, or anything else on it after that.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite wheel.
Wheel.
Favorite wheel. How about that?
Well, we got to be HRE gets my loyalty
Okay.
on that, man. They stood up, yeah. But that I'll say that for the supercar. But I do want to do a shout out for Kansei wheels. Kansei, my friend Chris, and what I'm like more, I love his wheel design, and they're on the FC, and they're probably going to be on other cars of mine too. But I want to say more of that is the story of a guy who came from Virginia, drove out to California. He's a fan of my channel, found me, looked me up. He wasn't making wheels at the time, but his dream was to become a wheel builder. He was taking pictures at the time. I had an FD at the time, that one that I bought that I was telling you about after I got Mr. Amamia. I built that car, had LED lights all over it. And Chris said, hey, I like to take pictures. I want to do pictures for you. Invited him out, came, took beautiful pictures for me, and he told me about his passion was to become a wheel designer. I tried to help him with where I could, maybe introduce him to some people. He wound up getting into a big company called Raceline. And with Raceline, then they supported him to start Kansei Wheels Up. Now Chris is very successful on the drift, on Formula Drift. You got guys running Kansei wheels. On my FC project, my son's car, we have Kansei wheels.
You help make
and
it
he's
happen.
a good guy. I won't take credit for it, but I feels like here's a good guy who came to support me, who I was able to support back, and that I like. And now he supports me on the projects when I want wheels for cars. He's there for me as well. So, HRE, thank you. Kansei, thank you. Those would be my favorite wheel companies, I would say right now.
Perfect answers. And like we were discussing from the beginning, good people find good people.
Yeah, 100%.
So you can come from different walks of life, from pictures to wheels,
Yep.
to interviews, to motivational
Yep.
builds, to good people will
That's
always
right.
find good people.
Yep, and work with good people. It's good to be with good people. There's a lot of people in the world, One thing, it's a quick lesson. I'm sorry to break in with it, but when my son when his first car was a Subaru STI, technically his second car, but when he got the STI, he wanted to tune it. And he started, Dad, this guy's the best tuner in California. This guy, we got to go to this guy, Dad, and everything else. I said, okay. I didn't even know what tuning was. Honestly, I never did it, wasn't involved with it. Again, old Chevys, you advance the timing and, put an MSD coil on it and some good,
I mean, they're already V8s,
9
right?
millimeter wires, 10 millimeter, whatever
You
wires.
weren't having power problems.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
He wants to tune the car. I didn't know what was involved. He said, hey, we got to go to this guy. I said, okay, let's call him up and see what we can do. Called these guys. Well, I don't answer the phone because I'm working on cars, and if you leave me a message, I won't get back to you, and I won't call you back. You need to call between this time and that time. I don't answer emails and everything else. And I said, this is the guy
He made it
that
difficult.
you said it was? I said, we're never going to work with that guy. My kid was looking at me and said, Dad, but he's the best. I said, I don't care if he's, the god of tuning.
Yeah.
We're not going to him. And I've refused to believe that he's the only guy in town who could tune a car. I said, we'll find another guy. We found the next guy. Again, this guy was, I got a 6-month waiting list. You can't come near my shop when I'm tuning a car. This is the rules and everything. I said, kid, we're not spending a dime with that guy. In fact, I'm not even going to call that guy back again. I don't even want to see his face. I don't like the way he talked. He's rude. And you're going to learn that we're not going to spend hard-earned money and with a guy like that, no matter how good he is. Screw it. Let's find somebody good. And that led to a great guy in California, Ant Spec, who we really liked. And then it led to Brandon at Controlled Motors in Georgia. And since then we never looked back. And my son learned a really valuable lesson from that. There's a lot of people in the world, you know. You can't just say there's one guy who tunes cars and that's it. Find somebody who's nice to work with, nice people. There's plenty of good people out there too. Humble people, honest people.
Very much agree. I have a very similar story. When I was doing my KAT, the KAT is not a very well-known motor for being under heavy tuning and boost and all that. I had one of my meets. I've been doing meets, my SFL 240SX meets for S-Chassis and Skylines, almost 20 years now. About somewhere around 2015, I held a meet, and I saw a red S13 pull up, really clean. Hadn't really seen it before, and I saw the hood pop when all the cars were parked, and I was like, "Man, it's a KAT. This is amazing." So I have to meet this guy, but he had already parked the car, already walked around. So sure enough, I'm walking around doing my thing because I'm the host of the meet, so I have to, mingle and whatnot. When I see the car start and he's about to leave, I run up to the window and I go, "You're a KAT. I have to know you." So let's exchange contact information. He looked at me. He goes, "Yeah, sure. Let's do that." So we end up getting to become friends from there, and turns out he tuned, and we have been friends ever since. My KAT motor build that everyone is familiar with, that was me and him in my garage for a solid year. He is my tuner. Armando Alvarez, thank you so much. Hashtag Eris Tuned. He's a good friend of ours.
Nice.
Super humble. He's known within his circle for being a fantastic tuner. But he does not have that attitude. When I call him up, hey, my car's got a cold start problem. Cool. I'm coming over with the laptop. He doesn't have that ego. That's why we get along. He's so knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. He's trusted. And I would trust him with anything on that car.
That's a great point, man. It's a great point. I mean, work with good people. There's plenty of good people out there. If you haven't found one yet, set back. They'll come your way.
Exactly.
Or you got to go out and find them.
And same thing with my friend here, Steve, the one that's filming this, Steve and Charles from the Karis Culture. Good people, great people. Not only did they film anything car related that I've done, but they were the photographers at my wedding.
Wow, yes. You see?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. When we had a photographer lined up, we actually had them cancel on us about 2 months before the wedding. My wife was in tears. I said, "Wait a second. In the car world, I know a lot of photographers. Let me see what I can do." I reached out to Steve and Charles and another friend of mine, Ryan, and said, "Hey, you guys want to do our wedding?" And I said, "Let's do this." So nice. I wouldn't change any of that. Their pictures are fantastic. Their quality, their editing.
Great story.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes, and they're here today. And
thanks, Steve.
So
Charles.
It all ties in. So I want to go ahead and say, give me a wild experience. I know you've had quite a few riding in the Lambos with Morohoshi. How about a story about possibly coyotes eating one of your cars?
Ah, yes. So I had my daily driver for a while. Kind of reminds me of the color of your beauty right here. Somewhat close to it. It was what is that color called?
This is BMW Laguna Seca blue.
Okay, mine was the
E46
blue. I think it was called a little lighter blue. But I had a M4. It was leased. It was down to the end of the lease term, and it was about a week before that car needed to go back to the dealer. And it was raining, which doesn't happen a lot in California. It was raining really hard. And in the middle of the night, I thought I heard something. And I didn't pay much attention. I thought maybe it was the rain or thunder or something. Didn't pay much attention to it. The next morning I woke up, it's still raining. I look outside, and there are pieces of my BMW all over the driveway. I mean, little chunks of bumper, chunks of side diffuser. And I said, "Oh my God, what the?"
You thought
somebody
you were
broke
robbed.
into my
car
car
and steal your parts.
Destroyed my car. And I got out there, I started seeing these look like claw marks or teeth marks in the hood, in the remaining part of the bumper. The whole side diffuser is ripped off the car and broken in pieces. I said, "What the hell happened to my car?" A coyote, a raccoon, something, came, or a pack of something came and ripped my car into shreds at night for what I think was either a rabbit or a mouse that had gotten up into that car. And they wanted that thing so bad. I found a little mouse nest inside the, I popped the hood right.
That's probably what it was. They probably smelled it.
They smelled
dinner, and they needed to get to dinner.
And they were going to do anything they could, and they destroyed that car. They destroyed it. So thankfully, again, good connections, years of knowing people, really good body shop there. Got it in, good insurance. Thank you, State Farm. Got it done. Got it back to BMW with no further incident at that point. But
that's a wild
yes.
story.
Buy an old metal car. Classic cars are made a lot better. They can't chew that bumper off of an old classic. Not an American car, that is for sure.
Well, now I gave Steve a tour of. I'm a bit of a collector. I have a collection of a bunch of different, from scale cars to one-off builds. Shout out to Little 305 Garage for making the Hot Wheel and this custom. We actually waited 2 months for custom 3D printed wheels to be made in another country just for these to come together. Nice. This is the most recent version. He's built my car a few times. We've got the Lean Customs pin for my 40th birthday, which recently happened. From Goichi Motors, my wife surprised me with this Damascus awesome. 1 of 10 shift knob from Goichi. Thank you so much. It's actually engraved. Happy 40th birthday. Thank you, Sam.
Very cool.
And which ties in Japan. When I was in Japan, I had to have things that were only going to be in Japan.
Yep.
Being a Kyle and Monster Energy,
yep.
I found the Cuba Libre Monster Energy, which was a Japanese-only special.
Very cool. Very cool can. Yeah. Textured.
Yeah.
Yeah, unique, all Japanese, right?
I brought that one home, but I actually had tried one in Japan. It was pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah, it had a different, definitely a different flavor to it. My wife and I actually went to go see Mount Fuji, and we found this sake bottle.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I don't think I could ever open it. It's just too perfect
cool.
the way it is. So thank you, Japan,
nice.
For these treats. And this leads me into something that I wanted to do. I actually had found these while doing some shopping in Japan.
Yeah.
They are mystery Bosu Suka gift boxes.
Nice.
And they've been sitting here with COVID. I haven't really had a chance to really do anything with them. But being that you have some Bosu inspired cars, I figured why not? Let's
sure.
Let's open and see what's inside.
I'm good. So, I get this one?
Yeah, you get this one. That's
nice.
That's the one, the Liberty Walk one.
Okay.
So
I want to open these neatly,
let's see what
man.
we got. Open. I guess. Let's peel it from the top.
Let's see. Chop it. I want to make it nice for you. So
here we go.
We're gonna have to go from the top. Let's see.
So I actually had given a friend of mine when I was shopping. I had found some Akira ones, and I did an interview for Adrian of his 4-door Skyline, and I surprised him at the end of the interview with one of the Akira ones.
Oh, nice. Let's see.
Oh, look at this wrapping. They really take it to the next level.
Yeah, Japan. When it comes to wrapping, Japan is tops.
God, I don't even want to tear it. It's so perfect.
Internal wrap, external wrap. Yeah, well, now we're really Japanese style, right? We're slowly unwrapping these things. Ooh. Now you're talking. This is the crown, the 110 crown. By the way, I had one of these in California. I sold this car. Was mine a 110? This is a little bit older. That is super cool, dude. Whoa! Look at that. Is that a Japan? It's a Cedric, 330 Cedric. Yeah, that is very cool. These are awesome.
That's really nice.
These are so awesome. Yeah,
I like these mystery boxes. You never know what you're gonna get.
Pretty good score right here, I gotta say. That's not a bad.
I looked at the box. There's really nothing you could go wrong on.
No, you got the Ken Marys on here. You got a lot of Ken Marys, Fair Lady Z's, Sylvia's, all kinds of stuff. But this is cool, awesome, man.
Oh wow! It even looks like it's got some Work Equipo ones on there.
You know what? Yes, you're right.
Work Equipo ones. Yes.
Those are very cool, man.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me open that with you.
Of course, man. And as I had said before, I had some gifts to send home for you. So we got some fresh stickers, and
yes.
I guess Alex will see it beforehand, but I'm sending him home with a lean custom of his Initial D inspired FC.
Oh,
so
man.
Alex, I know you couldn't be here, but I'm sending this home with your dad.
Kid, this is awesome. Look at this, kid. This is like the exact, almost duplicate of the car that you built. No gold wheels, but hey, right there with the Red Sun sticker and everything. That is awesome, man.
Shout
Thank
out
you. The
to,
kid's really going to love that.
Shout out to Lean Customs. He does amazing pin work, as you can see.
Great work, man. That is beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got some keychains.
Yes.
Some holographic stickers.
Hologram's good.
Man, I got some pins. I got a whole bunch of swag for you. And this is currently a 1 of 1.
1 of 1, huh?
Yeah, 1 of 1.
Do I take the Datsun
No,
hat
you
off?
can leave that's your signature.
My signature
But I did
hat?
want to send you home with.
I definitely do.
With a
Thank
gift.
you. That is beautiful. 1 of 1 hat. If I wear this hat, I'll get so dirty. So this might have to go on display.
So be it.
Might have to be displayed.
You know what? Like rare parts.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Nismo parts on my car.
All right.
People are, I can't believe you use that. I have Nismo pedals. They're on the car.
How
I
is
have
it?
harnesses. They're on the car. You know, that's it. Steering wheel. It's made. Hats are made for wearing. If it gets dirty, so be it.
And you got my curve. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got the curve. No curves, no good. I can't do this. I can't do that.
I can't. I don't look. The flat brim doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work for you either?
No.
All right, you see, I'm not the only one, kid.
Yeah.
You know, you think I'm the only one who can't wear a straight hat?
No.
Kyle can't either.
No. And unfortunately, I bought one. They only had one version at Tokyo Auto Salon.
Yeah.
And it's the straight brim, and I look terrible in it. So it just sits on my shelf now.
You gotta do the old school.
That's the only way it works for me. Yeah.
You have a football.
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
Do you know the old school football
You bend it around
trick?
the football?
Bend it, yeah, and put those rubber bands on it.
Oh,
And let it sit for a
that's the
few
trick.
days. You'll have a
Like-
beautiful curve just like
Kind of
that.
like breaking in a baseball glove.
Exactly, just
Yes.
like a baseball glove ring. You break in your hat. We
Awesome.
would spend as kids hours trying to get that perfect curve. This has got a really nice curve, by the way. Well done.
Well, thank you, sir, so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I
And-
brought you a couple gifts too, so I
Yes.
hope you can enjoy
Yes.
those later for you and the wife.
I will.
We have a few things. I want to bring you a couple more, but didn't all fit in my carry-on bag today. You know what? My message to everybody is
T-shirts.
it's POV.
Oh.
It's always about thumbs up, though.
Yes.
I wanted you to share that message with you and your
Yes.
fans on the channel. And I think I got some stickers in there that
Oh my
hopefully
God.
can make a way onto one of your builds one day. I'd
course.
be honored. And I hope that I can come back down to Florida, spend a little more time today. We don't have a lot. We have a little mission that we're going on after
Yes,
this,
yes.
which I'm excited about, which you were instrumental in helping me put together. And the kid is very thankful. I have big thanks from him as well for you, for your help with this. But should we get going pretty soon?
Yes,
Go see,
that is going to be the next
let's-
video. And
Stay tuned. Next video.
The big reason for Steve coming out here. So
That is.
Yes.
See Kyle, of course, but there is a mission ahead of us today before I go back tonight. So quick trip in, quick trip out. But I want to take a ride in your 240.
yes,
your
that is
240
next.
too.
We're gonna go ahead and throw in the GoPro in the car and take the 240 out for a spin and do a little bit of video. So
I love it.
and it looks like the weather might hold up. We are in Miami. It can rain. Wait 5 minutes. It'll stop.
It'll stop.
So
All right.
that's next.
I love it. Thanks, man. I appreciate
you.
you having me here.
All right.
Thumbs up, guys.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for daily content. Follow me on Instagram at SFL240SX. I'll see you in the next video.